Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, it's Silfi. So in this occasion, me and my friends Daffiza and Rachmad will present today's material about um, types of meaning. First of all, we are sorry if there are any misunderstanding or minus and mistake along the presentation. And without any further ado, let's get to the topic. So the first one is about sender's meaning. Sender's meaning is something that addresses have to guess about have to guess about or to understand about. So sender meaning is something that addresses or continually have to make informed guesses about. So senders or speaker thought are private, but utterances are publicly can be observed. And also type or written utterance can be studied on paper or on the screens of digital devices. And also the recorded one can be played back. Other people who were present when an utterance was produced can be asked what they heard or saw being written. They cannot be sure that sender meaning always coincides with addresses interpretation, so there is a dilemma over what to regard as the meaning of an utterance. Is it a sender meaning or interpretation? This is made from the utterance in context by addresses. And the second one is utterance meaning. Utterance meaning is a meaning based on context, explicator, and implicator. That an utterance would likely be understood as conveying when interpreted by people who know the language, are aware of the context, and have better background knowledge to sender could responsibly presume to be available to the addresses. And the last one is literal meaning. Literal meaning is same as sentence meaning. The meaning that people familiar with the language can agree, or sentences consider it in isolation. Also, the sentence means what it says.
Hello guys, my name is Syamsu Dhuha, and now I'm going to talk about denotation, sense, reference, and deixis. Okay, denotation of an expression is whatever it denotes. For many words, the denotation is a big class of things, such as the noun arm denotes all the upper limbs. The arm denotes all the upper limbs there are on the world, such as people, monkeys, and apes. If expression did not have denotations, language would hardly be much of use. It is the fact that they allow us to communicate about the world that makes them almost indispensable. Because language have useful links to the world, there is a temptation to think that the meaning of a word or other kind of expression simply is its denotation. In early childhood, our first words are probably learned by such process to leave demonstration and pointing, known as ostension, which means when we are in our childhood, when we want to say something, we just simply point at it. Like if we want to eat, we point at the food. Okay, second, sense. Sense are those aspects of the meaning of an expression that give it the denotation it has. Differences in sense therefore make for different in denotation, which means if we have different sense and then the denotation is also different. That is why the term sense is used for clearly distinct meaning that an expression has. In terms of sense relations, which are semantic relationship between the senses of expressions. This is the scheme that is going to be used. It is harmonizes well with the fact that we quite commonly use language to explain meanings. For example, an arm is a limb. An arm is an upper limb. A leg is a limb. A leg is a lower limb. There are such ties between senses have a bearing on denotation is the following. with words interconnected by well-defined senses relations. A person who knows the denotation of some words as a start in the network of relationship can develop an understanding of the meaning, which is senses, in the rest of the system. Okay, next is reference. Reference is what speakers or writers do when they use expressions to pick out for their audience particular people, things, times, places, events, or ideas. For example, for particular people, my sister, things, the Parthenon marbles, times 2007, places, that corner, event, her birthday party, or ideas, the plan we were told about. Reference has to be done and interpreted with regard to the context. Okay, that's it for reference. Okay, last is dialectic. Dialectic expressions are words, phrases, and features of grammar that have to be interpreted in relation to the situation in which they are uttered, such as me, the sender of this utterance, or here, the place where the sender is. Deixis is pervasive in languages, probably because indicating when, where, who, what, and so on. It is very useful to start with the coordinated with the coordinates of the situation of utterances. There are different kinds of deixis relating to first, time, now, soon, recently, ago, tomorrow, next week, and so on. Second, place. Here, there, 2 kilometers away, that side, this way, come, bring, upstairs. Third, participants, persons, and other entities such as she, her, hers, he, him, his, they, it, this, and that. Lastly is discourse itself, such as this sentence, the next paragraph, that was what they told me, and I want you to remember this. Okay, that's my part. The next part will be explained by the next presenter. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to talk about semantics first. So semantics is the study of word meaning and sentence meaning. It is abstracted away from context of use. It is a descriptive subject. It is also an attempt to describe and understand the nature of knowledge about meaning in their language that people have from knowing the language. Also, to point out that pedants can certainly benefit from studying the semantics of a language. They want to lay down rules about to become clear on what aspects of conventional meaning they dislike and which they favor. So also, there are similarities in the pronunciations or spellings of words that share similarities in meaning. For example, like arms, which is a body part, also arms in weapons, etc. Okay, so the next is we're going to talk about propositions. Propositions is the term for a kind of coarse sentence meaning. Propositions in this technical sense are very abstract, not tied to particular words or sentences. The only feature that all propositions have is that they're reasonable to wonder whether they are true or false. So we have to notice that what is being spoken or written about before we can judge whether a proposition is true or false. The propositions expressed by a sentence is not known until an explicator has been worked out for it. Reference and ambiguities both cleared up using contextual information. So in proposition, and we're gonna give the example. So different sentences can carry the same meaning. So for example, the sentence like sharks hunt seals, it also can be reversed like seals are hunted by sharks, seals are prey to sharks, etc. So the next one is compositionality. The need to account for a sentence meaning in order to develop explanations of utterance meaning. We have to generalize and try to discover the principles that enable people to choose sentences that can, as utterances in particular context, have the intended meanings that makes it possible for their addresses to understand what they are hear or read. That is what a compositional theory of meaning amounts to. Okay, so the examples below show something similar in the construction of words. Similar but not identical, because this is not an addition in multiplication, but this is an operation of negation or reversal performed by the prefix "un" and the formation of capability adjectives by means of the suffix "able." So the first one, A, unlockable, with a bracket and lock and a bell in it. It's mean not able to be locked. So in B, unlockable, so the unlock is in a bracket. It means able to be unlocked. Okay, so the last one is entailment. Entailment is a centrally important type of inference in semantics, while in the pragmatic it is inference and it called explicators and implicators that are cancelable. So we can say that entailment is a guarantee. So using the notation, the symbol that is shown in the PowerPoint for entailment. So in this example, in A, the accommodation was excellent. Notation, the accommodation was very good. So the example in A indicates that when the accommodation was excellent, it is true. We can be sure that it is the same accommodation at the same point in time. Was very good. So we go to the example B. The accommodation was excellent. Notation, the accommodation was good. So in this example, in B, we can see that the statement in the example signifies that if it was excellent, it was at least good. So the last one in the example C, the accommodation was excellent. Notation, the accommodation was okay. So in C, it signifies that it was at least okay. After that example, you can see that the sense of word can now be defined in terms of the particular entailment possibilities that sentences get from containing that word. Whatever aspects of the word's meaning are responsible for the sentences having those entailments. Okay, so that is all for us for the presentation about types of meaning. So I hope you guys can understand it well. And okay, thank you guys for the attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.